Hello there. It is Wednesday morning. I am down at the shed trying to do a little more troubleshooting. I still don't have a good handle on what's going on. As you can see, I've got the machine powered up and it's in a track mode, but nothing has been fixed yet. But I was looking at the schematics and I noticed that J2 on the main microprocessor board controls all of the switches. So it is the strobes out and the returns back from the switches, and it's the only thing that's on that connector. So by disconnecting that connector, I can remove all of the play field switches. Now it does not take out the box switches. So like the test switch on the front panel and stuff should still work. So I'll put you up on a tripod. I'll go ahead and disconnect that. Well, I'm going to prove that it's still failing, and then I'll go ahead and remove that connector and see if that makes any difference. So it's just a quick troubleshooting thing. Okay, I have you up on the tripod looking at the table, and I'm going to start the solenoid test running. Okay, so the test still is not running, so I'm going to disconnect that cable and then I'll show you how that works. And that has not done anything at all for alleviating this problem. Okay, that is very, very interesting. So it's not a switch that's causing it. Okay, I have disconnected J3, which is the switches on the underside on the box, and the problem still exists. And notice this goes 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 8. So it should go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, obviously, and it's not doing that. So this is really, really bizarre. Okay, so I am done with my testing here today. I'll have to go back and consider this some more. Okay, I'm going to do a little voiceover here because I didn't actually talk while I was doing this testing. But the first thing I want you to look at is the numbers on the lights flashing on the back box. As you can see, they are counting all the way through now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on and so forth. And the reason that is because I found a problem. After the test that I had just done with removing the switches from the play field and the box, I realized that those weren't causing any problems. And so about the only other thing left was my board that I had added. And remember, I mentioned that in the last week's video that that could be a potential cause of the problem. So I took it back home, I examined it carefully, I did some ohming out, and I found that there was a short on the board on one of the pins. It was grounding out data pin 2, and that's what was causing me to lose the numbers on the display. Actually, it was shorting out data pin 2 going to the displays, and that's all. So I fixed that short. I painted some clear nail polish over it to make sure it couldn't short out again, and I brought it back and I put it back in the box, and that's where you're sitting right now. So that has fixed the problem. However, it did not fix the solenoid problem. So I wanted to do a little more testing. I decided to check the switches, as many of them as I could get to react. So you can see me here adjusting those switches or testing those switches to see what they're doing. The switches all appear to be working perfectly fine. So the next thing I tried to do is swap out the microprocessor card. And so you can see me here setting up the microprocessor card and swapping it out, and I can tell you that at the end of doing that, the symptoms did not change. The lights again still counted up correctly. However, we didn't have any, or the solenoid drivers were still bad. So at this point I was running out of time, but I called Mike and I told Mike that, you know, from what I can see, we might have a bad solenoid driver board also. So we had two problems. We had the shorted data line messing up the displays, and potentially a bad solenoid driver board or something else that was causing the solenoids not to work correctly. Hello guys, it's Thursday morning and I came down here to the shop to film a little wrap-up on the troubleshooting that we've been doing with the playfield and switches and lights and everything not working. As you saw just previously in the video, I found a problem on my little add-in board that was shorting out the lights to the displays, and I fixed that. And so that was all working, but the solenoids still weren't working. I swapped out the MPU. That still didn't fix the problem. So I recommended to Mike that the solenoid driver board might be bad. And he came down here later in the evening yesterday and replaced the solenoid driver board, and that fixed the problem. So he says that the table is all working fine now. Now, we haven't adjusted the switches or anything yet, so some of these switches aren't working. We're not concerned about that. We're just making sure that it kind of works the way it's supposed to. We will do all the adjustments later. But I did want to try and figure out if I can determine what was wrong with the other solenoid driver board. I'm going to take it home and try and figure out what the problem is. But in order to do that, I want to run through the diagnostics again with the good board to see what order the solenoids fire in, and then I'll compare it to the film I did a little earlier that you guys have already seen, and try and determine what's firing out of order and see if I can calculate what might be the problem. Not sure I'm going to have any luck with that, but I want to try it. Let me go ahead and move you guys closer up here so you can see a little better, and we'll get that filmed. Okay, so this is about as close as I can get you where we can still see everything. One of the things I did want to show before I start running the test, I'm going to add a game to this. Mike set the switch that makes the globe cycle because we think it makes the table look a little better, even though it's a little harder to play that way. But he tried to do that the other day and it wouldn't work. And the reason it wouldn't work was because of that short on my board, which was also shorting out the switch that sensed which mode you had selected. So fixing that short allowed him to select this. So anyway, I'm going to go on into the test mode. So there's the lights all blinking. And there's the displays all blinking. And there's the solenoid, so I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 1. So that's the sequence these should fire in. and everything seems to be working great. So that's really all I wanted to show you guys. The solenoids are all working right, so the game should play the way it should. So anyway, that's great. Let me turn it off and back on again. And Mike said that he had fixed this switch, so those switches are lighting these lights over here. That looks really great. Let me see if I can open the gate. The gate did open. Again, we still have the spring problem there. So if I drop a ball through there, the gate should close, and it does. Yeah. Looks like we might need a cap on this switch. It's not always making. I love it. I love it. It looks great. Okay, So this is going to wrap it up for the day. This table is looking really, really good. Obviously, we got switches to adjust and stuff like that, but we've gotten rid of all of the problems, and now it's just a matter of adjustments. So that's what happens when you build a table like this. Sometimes you have problems. You just have to work through them, think about them critically, work through what are the probabilities, get rid of the problems, one by one, and then once you got those all cleaned up, you've got a working table. So, thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed.